Hi, welcome to the Leicester City Women Supporters Club. As some of you are aware, this year we're working with Her Game Too to make sure that every game is inclusive for males and females. So it's a kind of thing that we're quite excited about this year. So we're doing interviews again. This week we've got Sophie Howard. Hi, Soph.
Hiya, you okay?
Yes, thanks. You?
Yeah, good, thanks.
I think last time you were on, we had quite a long conversation on coffee. I do remember.
Yeah, conversation on all sorts, to be fair.
So first question up, have we found any new coffee shops, anything to be aware of?
Any new coffee shops? I think I've adventured a little bit further away from where I live. That's probably as good as I can give you. Quite a few nice ones in Market Harbour. I love to go to Fountain Fields. They have good coffee. There was one in Loughborough that I went to the other day. Public Plants, I think it's called. That one was good. To be fair, they had the coffee. I don't know if people are listening, but they had the coffee from 200 degrees, and that's always a good coffee. But yeah.
That's great. I believe Tim Hortons is opening in Leicester soon. A big one near Foss Park.
So yeah, I've seen it. I've driven past it a couple of times. To be fair, I'd never heard about it. I had to actually look it up what it was. One of my teammates had, and I was like, oh, so if they're opening a new one, but I actually didn't know what it was. But now I know.
Quite big in Canada, I believe.
Yeah, so I was told. I'm not sure if I'd want to try it though, just because it's just another chain. That's really bad to say, but yeah.
Yeah. I think the last time we spoke, you kind of more of an independent girl that likes to go to the independent coffee ones rather than the big chains.
Yeah. I mean, I know this is contradicting itself because I know 200 degrees is a chain, but yes, I'm more independent coffee shops, coffee places.
Okay, so before we get started into the football type questions, I was looking online last night to try and find some questions to ask you, and I came across some photos.
Oh God.
They're not bad photos. I just kind of wanted to get your kind of view of what you were trying to do in these photos. So the first one's this one.
Oh, it's the last 5 minutes in the game, and I'm still telling everyone to use your brain.
Okay.
We're holding on to the lead.
And the other one I found was this one here.
I'm admiring my shot as the ball leaves my foot.
Okay. Just things I was looking for. So obviously you've just come back from playing with Scotland. Narrowly lost to the Netherlands 2-1, which I think you played all game in that one.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yep. And then obviously the Faroe Islands was quite an easy victory. So obviously you're through to the playoffs of the World Cup against Austria. I think October the 6th. I think that game is.
Yep.
So kind of what are your views on that Austria game and how do you see it going?
Oh, it's definitely going to be a hard one. Unfortunately, we're at home at Hampden Park for that game. Obviously, I know quite a few of the Austrian players from my time I spent in Germany. A few teammates and obviously opposition players. They're a very good team. I think they showed that in the Euros as well. So we have to be on top of our game in every area of the game to compete. But I truly believe that we can, and especially with the backing from our supporters, we can win that game.
Like I say, with a big crowd at Hampden Park, surely that's on your side as well, because when that crowd gets going, it is quite loud in there.
Oh, 100%. The Blue Army is something really special, next level, and we've managed to get a big crowd before, but I think we're all about breaking records now, and we're trying to get that stadium as full as we can. Every time we have a big crowd, we can hear them from minute 1 to minute 90 plus, and they really do give us that kind of home advantage.
That's great to hear. So kind of obviously England won the Euros. It's been quite documented quite well everywhere. So we've seen an impact with the supporters club on new fans coming to the games. Obviously the first game's this Sunday. So what kind of impact do you think this has on the game in England?
I think the English team managed to inspire a generation, inspired people to come and want to watch women's football. They broke records. They took away kind of all the presumptions people had about women's football, which I think personally I'm very grateful for, and I think every female football player is going to say thanks to not only the English team, but every team competing in that Euros. I think they did a great job. In the end, I do think they deserved to win the Euros. They probably were the best team. And I think now it's kind of excitement looking towards the league. Can we fill stadiums? I think a lot of games are now being played at the men's stadiums, which is a great gesture from all the clubs. But that's where the women's game belongs. We've had to fight for too long to finally be heard and accepted and valued. But as I said, a great gesture from the clubs. And I think now it's about pushing more boundaries and breaking more records.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the whole tournament as a whole was run really, really well. Every single game was nearly sold out, which I thought was great for the women's game. I was lucky enough to go to the final, and there was 7,000 there, and to sell out Wembley, I think is great. So for me, I think it's great. I think it's huge for the future generation. Because when I was growing up, you look at the England stars I had then, and you wanted to be one of them. It's something you wanted to do and wanted to be so badly. So I think it's the same for the women's game as well, seeing that it can be achieved, and I think that's huge.
100%. I think you mentioned it. It's about kind of what follows now, and I think the biggest thing is now that we take kind of that success that we had over summer, not only as a nation, I'd say, I think it was across whole Europe. Even the fans that travelled to England to watch all the games, it was insane. But now I think, for England and the UK, it's about kind of making football available for girls. Obviously, can you continue to do it for boys as well? But previously, there hasn't been the chance for young girls, for young females to pursue a dream or their dream. I think it's our responsibility now to make it available. So they have the chance to be a professional footballer, but first and foremost to have the chance to start playing football, to play football and fall in love with the game that like all of us did, because that's why we play football. We all were from kind of a generation where we sort of had a dream of becoming a professional footballer, but going back to the first session, I think we all started because we loved the game, and we definitely continued to play because we loved the game, because I don't think you survive in football if you don't actually enjoy what you do.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a great advert for the girls coming through. If you love what you do, join your local teams. I know Leicester City have got a great academy, which is bringing the stars of the future on, as a lot of clubs do. So I think us winning the Euros is great. But I also think we need to build on that. We've done one stage of it. I think there's a long way to go, but I think it's easily achievable.
Yeah, I think easily achievable is that's a challenge, because even making football as such available for girls is hard work. There's a lot of hours of work and thinking and planning, put into work for that to happen. But I think girls deserve it. The next generation deserves that work put in. And as you said, we need to take the success of summer into winter, into the next season, into the upcoming years. And it can't be a one-off. It has to be the beginning of even more growth.
Yeah, I think you're right. So kind of, obviously, let's talk about Leicester. So you're playing in the WSL again. When you started in Germany, kind of what were your aspirations? So I kind of think about when you were younger, what did you want to do? Did you want to end up in something like the WSL? Kind of what was the career progression?
I mean, when I first started the WSL, I don't think it existed, but I started because I idolised my older brother. I wanted to do everything he did, and he played football, so I started playing football. And soon enough, I fell in love with the game, and nothing could kind of draw me away. I played different sports as well, but nothing kind of caught me like football did. So yeah, initially, as I said, I played football because I idolised my brother, but because I fell in love with the game. And then as the years went on, I just loved the competition, kind of competing against myself, but also obviously at that point I was playing with boys, so I was competing against boys, which I loved. When I left home when I was 15, that's when I made the decision that I really wanted to give it a go. But while I was still living in Germany, but I was living with a host family, so I left home quite soon. But I knew that it was all because I kind of wanted to make it work and give it a try. And I had the full support of my family, say my parents and my siblings. And without that, I probably couldn't have done what I did. But yeah, to answer your question, initially it was because I enjoyed playing football. And then the older I got, I kind of saw that, yeah, there was something out there, professional leagues, competitive leagues, and I really wanted to give it a go. And that's how it all kind of started. And then obviously I moved to America. That was a decision to get a degree whilst playing high level football and kind of being exposed to something new. And by that time I'd lived away from home for 3 years, so I was used to it. So moving to the other side of the world wasn't as big of a challenge maybe as it would have been if I hadn't left home that soon. But then I went back to Germany for another 3 years. And then when I realised how much the league in England, say the WSL, was growing, that was the next challenge. I wanted to move into, in my eyes, probably the most competitive, best league in the world. That's obviously controversial. I think there's other leagues that are competing as well. But for me, it was, challenging myself, kind of competing with and against the best players in the world. And that's why I made the decision to move to the WSL, I think 4 years ago now.
I think it's a great story. Obviously, you've been quite determined all the way through your career, even when you started in Germany. There must have been some difficult times, obviously, being away from family, where you think, and you must have been so determined to try and work through that to get where you are today.
It wasn't easy. I think I'd lie if I sat here and said, it came easy to me that I was away from my family because I focused on football. And yeah, football was always my priority. Obviously, if my parents asked, school was priority, but secretly football was always my priority. And that's why I knew why I was moving away from home. And I'm very close to my family, and because my mum and dad moved to Germany before I was born, so I only had my mum and dad and my 3 siblings, so the 6 of us were very close. We didn't have grandparents or any relatives in Germany, so I literally had just them 5, and we are very, very close. So for me to move away when I was still quite young was tough, especially because I've got a twin sister, and to actually think that we spent so many years apart is mad. Thinking how close we actually are. There's not a day where I don't ring her. But I think I knew why I was doing it, and my family knew it as well. And as I said, I couldn't have done it without them. And what I mean is like the support, like the continuous support, and also their honesty with me is how I think I got to where I got, or probably it's better to say is why that, like how they got me to where I've got. And I think everyone does always say, like, I couldn't have done it without my family, but I do believe that they are my biggest critics. And as annoying as it is at times, I know they want the best for me and they'll always be honest with me. But then again, they want to see me happy, and I'm happiest when I play at a high level. So I think we all sacrificed family time for that, really.
Yeah, I think it's a great story, and it's good that you had that support network from your family to help you through that, and obviously has helped you to mold into the player you are today. So last season, obviously, we secured another season in the WSL. As fans, we were overjoyed to see it. Even at Christmas time, when we didn't have any points, I didn't see us going down, because although we weren't winning, we weren't truly getting beat. Yes, they were scoring more goals than us, but we were competing in every single game, and there was not one game that I thought we're going to get hammered here. Every single game we competed. So as a fan, was kind of relieved, but it's what I expected as well. So obviously this year in the WSL, what are your expectations for the new season?
I think a big focus for us is that we take each game as it comes. And especially a priority is to start brighter than what we did last year. And that's in terms of results. As you said, even though we were performing towards Christmas, we weren't picking up any points. And that was letting us down. In the end, like if you don't get any points and you don't get any results, performances don't matter in a sense of you're still going down if you don't have any points. So for us, our focus is to start brighter and get points on the board as soon as we can. I think we lost a lot of games in the final minute last season, and that's something we analysed and we learnt from. Hopefully, that's definitely something we have worked on and that we will be focusing on. Because in the end, if we don't go for the win but we get a point, we're better off than losing the game. I think sometimes we were quite naive how we went into games, and as much as that is entertaining, as you said, we competed, but then we came out without any points and with another loss. So for us, it's big to, as I said, start brighter, take each game as it comes. Of course, we have small targets throughout the season that we've discussed, but if we don't start brightly, those targets don't matter anymore. So the biggest game is probably the one at the weekend. You know, everyone's waiting for that first game. It should have been last weekend, but for obvious reasons, it's this weekend. Right now, that's the biggest game of the season for us.
Yeah, and I think it's good to hear. I think although we know last Sunday's game was postponed, but I think for the fans to be at home on our first game is tremendous. I mean, I know the ticket sales have been going up and up, and it's great to see. I know that we've had lots of contact with new fans around how to get to the ground, where to park, etc. So I think there is quite a buzz for this season from the fans, and I think we're going to build on last season and kind of make it bigger than ever. And hopefully, if you can get a result on Sunday, that will help to build the momentum for the season.
Oh, 100%. I think every team wants to start their season at home with the home fans. Yeah, we didn't have that. But yeah, ironically, we will have our first game of the season at home now. We experienced last year what an advantage we have at home with our fans. Because similar to Scotland, actually, we hear the fans from minute one. And no matter how the game had gone last year, how the games went in general, we heard the fans until the very last moment, until the whistle went. So we actually know how much, we can gain from having the fans at home. First, it's about putting a good performance in to compete, because Spurs is a massive club and team. They're very strong this year. They were last year as well. But I do believe that we're going to go into the game and give them a good game.
Yeah, and I think it's great seeing, and obviously we can't wait to see you on Sunday. So during the summer, you signed an extension, which was great to see. I know a lot of the fans love to see that. How did it feel for you? Was it kind of an easy decision, or?
It was an easy decision in a sense of I'm very aware where I'm at in my career. For the first time in a long time, I was happy. Happy for me is very different to just being content. I'm happy with where I'm at on and off the pitch, and I just love that kind of challenge to see how far we can push this team. We started WSL Championship, and we've pushed every season, and I think it's kind of a project which I'm excited about. So yeah, to answer your question, for me it just felt right to stay for another 2 years.
Yeah, I think you had a great season last season, and it was great to see you play. I think for you to stay is great for us because it gives us that kind of cement, kind of back four to go take us forward. And everywhere you played, you seem to do well. And last season was exactly the same. I know we went away to Chelsea, which was quite annoying, if I'm honest, because you got red carded for no reason whatsoever. But we're hoping to see you again, and hopefully it should be another great season for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think we've got something special we're building at club. Something special in terms of a great group of girls, but also on the pitch. Something we can really build, and as I said, it's a project, and exciting to see how far we've already come. Even if I compare pre-season last year and pre-season this year, I know for certain reasons the fans haven't been able to come and watch, but it makes it even more exciting for Sunday. Probably for you guys to see how far we've actually grown from last season even.
Yeah, exactly that. So for people that don't know, what is pre-season like for you this summer?
Oh, this year was long for us. Pre-season, everyone dreads pre-season, and I think this dreading it is justified because it is brutal. But I think we really used this pre-season to get physically, mentally stronger, to gel as a group, to put the graft and grind in, which is basically the foundation for the season. Because you know how it is in season. Each game you focus on a game. Each week you focus on a game, which is similar towards kind of the second half of pre-season as well. But the first couple of weeks are just grind and graft. And I think the big thing that people neglect is you actually realise that you can only get through these weeks with your teammates. And so that's the first kind of aspect of growth, realising we need one another, and that's what is going to be transferred onto the pitch. For us, as I said, pre-season was long, but we had a few kind of team building, character building, probably trips. We went to the army and spent 2 days in that environment, which was brutal. And I don't know if you spoke to anyone about it, but personally, I pushed boundaries that I didn't even know, or reached limits that I didn't even know I had. And that was only possible through my teammates. We were physically broken, mentally challenged to the next level. But that was at the very beginning of pre-season, and we had another team bonding trip where we went to the lakes. And again, this was probably less physically demanding, but more team bonding, team building, in a sense of working together, relying on one another and getting one another through different challenges. So we'd actually spoke about it a lot, because I think a lot of teams go abroad for pre-season, and there's always a hype about, this team goes here, this team goes there, and it's always towards sunshine. And when we first were presented kind of the plan for pre-season, we were fairly disappointed that we weren't going abroad. But now, having been through this pre-season, and partially also having heard from other clubs, Scotland teammates, what their clubs did, I think we smashed it in terms of we didn't go abroad, but we had the best pre-season in terms of we built this team physically and mentally stronger than we probably ever could have going abroad. And as long as a 10-week pre-season sounds, it never felt like that. And I do think we reached new levels in terms of, as I said, toughness and togetherness. So if anyone wants to know more about it, it was probably one of the best pre-seasons I've been part of.
That's brilliant to hear. Yes, I saw the photos of the army stuff, and it did look brutal, to be honest. And the Lake District looked really, really, really good as well. I think one thing for me that I took from pre-season is how mentally prepared you are this season. You seem to be a lot more together than you have been, and it's coming through to the fans that you're now all together. You help each other when you're there for each other. The support's there, and that's all there. And I think that added to your fitness levels, your physicality, that's going to aim to give us one of the greatest seasons we may ever see.
Yeah, definitely. I think as a team, and that's including players and staff, we came up with behaviours that we want to live by every single day. And we even broke it down in how every individual can contribute to these behaviours and how we're going to live them. And that was set quite early on in pre-season. and we've managed to, build on that, live by them, and that's kind of our guideline now throughout the season and probably beyond as well. As you said, it just gives you kind of them. Well, that's the foundation, but all the other stuff are like margins where we keep pushing and we keep closing the gap to the top teams that have probably been doing it for a couple of years. And I think we just have to be honest about it. There's a couple of teams that have been performing at the highest level for a couple of years, so it's going to take us some time to catch up. But when we definitely moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So obviously we've had some new signings. How have they bedded in with the group?
Perfectly fine, I think. Obviously we made 4 signings early on, and then a couple of last minute that you'll probably find out about soon. I don't think they've been announced yet. But the 4 that have been announced, fitted in perfectly. All very different characters, and not only on the pitch but off the pitch. They're just part of the family. That's something we really wanted to do. Something we really wanted to create is this Fox's family, and I think we've managed to do so. Obviously, Aileen, Josie have a lot of experience in the WSL. Evan's coming from abroad, had a spell at West Ham. She knows what to expect. She brings a different side from obviously experience in the WSL. Who am I missing? Come on, help me out. No, I've got Erin, Josie, Aileen. There's one more I'm missing. We've had four signings. Struggling. Oh no, CJ was obviously last January. We've made another signing. We've had 4. This is very embarrassing that I can't remember. But this just shows they're already part of the team, so they don't seem new. They're not considered new signings anymore. Can't remember actually who we signed. Who else? Nah, not a clue. We definitely had 4. Yeah, I can't remember.
I think was someone on loan last day, this transfer window.
Oh, Carrie Jones, of course, yeah. Carrie Jones was she's on loan from United. Yeah. She was a little gem. I think all I can say is like I'm excited to see what she produces on the pitch, and I think the fans are going to be inspired.
Yeah, with regards to Carrie Jones, I spoke to some United fans about her, and they said how great she is and how good she is, and they're expecting big things from her as well. So I think that this could be a real good season for us with Carrie there as well and everybody else. But I think it's great that you kind of created that Fox's family, and anyone new that does come in kind of gets welcomed into that and joins part of the family quite quickly. So I think that's great to see. And obviously that will come across on the pitch as well.
Yeah, I think it's a balance between as a Fox's family, we welcome people, we're open, but you better work hard to be part of this family. Like no one walks in, with entitlement, with arrogance, pride, ego, because I think that's important. But you better work hard, because otherwise you won't survive in this Fox's family.
That's great to hear. So all the kits have been launched. Which one's your favourite?
Oh, I think my favourite one is the away kit, to be honest. I'm just a fan of it. Yeah, I'm a fan of an all black. Don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like I'm not a fan of colours on kits, especially the home kit. Are you wearing it right now? Yeah, it's got like, see how it's got a collar, but it's like a different collar down here. It's got like a V shape and then an actual kind of old school, polo shirt collar. So it's a very odd one. I didn't even know. Someone told me the story why the third kit is what it is, like the color combination. I didn't even know that, but knowing that story, knowing the reason behind the color combination, makes it quite special, I think. But my favorite is definitely the all black. Yeah,
mine too. It feels really nice as well. We had a black kit a few years ago, and it just feels the same, and I think it looks so nice as well.
Yeah, it just looks classy, I think.
Okay, so moving on, our last part of the show was going to be called Teammates, but we might as well call it Fox's Family now, because that's what it's about.
Yeah.
So these are quick questions about your teammates. Hopefully there'll be nothing too contentious in there. We'll see. So when you're playing away, who do you usually room with?
Well, last season it was always Ash. Ash and I always roomed together. What's going to happen this year, we're not sure. But Ash is a perfect roommate. So we continue to room with one another for every away trip.
Okay, that's great to hear. Which two players would you want to be your phone of friends on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Oh, I think one of them would be Aileen. She's just a wise little one. She's obviously a little bit older, has got a lot of experience. And to be honest, I think we have a very different way of thinking, so she definitely added to my knowledge of everything and anything. Second person would probably be Ash. She's a very smart one as well. Ash and I have great discussions, but I think I mentioned that on a previous show. Yeah, we could discuss anything for hours. But yeah, Ash and Aileen would be my two.
Okay, that's great. So who is always trying to nutmeg people in training?
There's quite a few actually. Tash. Tash is my big one. Obviously, in training, I often come up against her. And he definitely always tries to make everyone. Yeah, Tash.
Okay. Who is the best dresser?
Oh, that's a very difficult question because I obviously only see everyone in either kit or just, shorts and a hoodie when they come into training. I'd say Hannah's quite well dressed, or G as well, to be fair. Yeah, Hannah or G.
Cool. Who has the weirdest taste in music?
The weirdest taste. I'm not sure if it's weird, but it's just not my cup of tea. Is Lashanda's music. She's obviously in the gym at the moment, rehabbing her injury. But when she has her tunes on, I leave the gym. So probably Lashante.
Okay, cool. And who is the best dancer, which is linked to that?
The best dancer. Again, I haven't seen a lot of people dance, if I'm honest. Ash loves a little dance. Ash will dance anywhere. I'd have to go with Ash because that's the only one I can actually picture dancing. And there's a few people that have their signature moves. But I think also Ash forgets where she is and everything around her and just goes for it. So I have to give her credit for that. I could never, but I'll give Ash the best dancer.
Okay, that's great. I think I heard the same thing from her stepmom about she'll just dance anywhere to anything.
Oh yeah. Like the other day, she put a tune on in the changing room and just was going for it, and we were actually all like, "What is going on?" But yeah.
That's great. So who is the funny one of the bunch?
Oh, I think G makes me laugh a lot. She's just her one-liners are class. Aileen's a funny one as well. She probably is competing with G, but I'll have to give G the title. She makes me laugh a lot.
And is there anybody that's always late?
Always late. It used to be Tash, but Tash's been really good. Yeah, Tash, if you hear this, you've been doing well. She's on time now. It used to be Tash. Do you know what? When we have meetings, usually all players are like scared of being late, so we're all 2 minutes early, and staff walks in late every day. So yeah, staff's always late.
And the last one, if you was on a desert island, who would you not want to be with?
Who would I not want to be with? Who would I not want to be with? That's a difficult one. That's a difficult question. I feel like Shaz can be quite moody, which makes me laugh as well when she's moody. But I think Shannon would be quite moody on an island, and she'd probably get annoyed with me as well. So yeah, Shannon.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for your time today, Sophie. It's been really, really great talking to you as usual. Look forward to seeing you on Sunday. Hopefully we can get some points on the board as our first game of the season.
Yep.
So fingers crossed.
I've also got your top. Don't forget that. I've got your top. That's safe.
And that's amazing. So I shall see you on Sunday. And thanks for coming.
Perfect. No worries. You're welcome.
Thanks, Soph.